Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob.
And I'm Professor Sheri.
And together we are
the Traveling Professors.
Welcome to show number 120 of the Traveling Professors. Today, Sheri and I are going to give you a little walking tour of the Chocolate Museum. Now, this is almost always, if you're going to go to Uxmal and a couple of the other places nearby, this is always usually added in. And some people come out here just to see this. So I thought I'd give you a quick walkthrough because it's more than just a chocolate museum. It's actually a little miniature village with animals and plants and all sorts of things. They even did a little Mayan ceremony while we were there. So I thought it'd be nice for you to see what was included because most of the time this is just part of your whole trip. So for example, we went to Uxmal and then we're going to go to Kabah and then we would end up going by here. In my personal opinion, I would have initially thought it would be all right to just skip this. But after going there, it was well worth it. The chocolate was great and seeing the jaguar was just awesome. Just a quick reference. So we left Mérida and we headed down to Uxmal. And then we went from Uxmal, we went actually to Kabah. And then on the way back, right about here is where the Chocolate Museum was, or the Choco Museum was located. And so here we are. We drive up into the parking area. And you look at the entrance. I thought they would have like one great big building with all of the material for chocolate making, but they didn't. They had it broken down in the sections scattered around through this whole little area. So here you are coming in, you get your tickets on one side and you go out on the other side, and that's of course where the gift shop is, where you can buy all sorts of chocolate and wooden drinking glasses and all sorts of stuff. So walking in, you will find scattered throughout this terrain statues of Mayan gods. All of these, my understanding were made by the woman that we saw on our way to Uxmal. And you can see how lush this is. And they have places where they have animals. They're in cages. There's plenty of room for them. But Sheri is not a cage person. So usually she didn't go to that direction. But the trees were just incredible. And here we are walking. There's our guide. And then there's Sheri. And she's looking at the plants. They have plants marked and trees marked. And all sorts of lizards and things crawling around. We saw iguanas, turtles, all sorts of stuff. Then we come to one of these Mayan huts. And on the inside, they had some of the material used to make chocolate, refining the cocoa beans and doing whatever. And I was surprised because this was a later rendition. This is something done in the early 1900s. I assumed they would start off with the oldest part of it and then work to the new. And they didn't do that. They actually kind of had the old way at the very end. So this is one of the grinders. There's another area where they mixed water and other chemicals. And there's bags of cocoa with some charts, and then they have a little display showing various things commemorating the cocoa bean and chocolate. Remember, it was so valuable that it was used as money by the Mayans. And the people throughout Mesoamerica, it was the prized drink, and generally only for the ultra elites. Moctezuma of the Aztecs had lots of it, and frequently they brought snow down from the mountains by messenger so you could have it cooled. But sugar was not added until the Spanish arrived. Some of the nuns decided it was a little bitter, so they put sugar in it. And then here they have things that you could stand around and have pictures taken, like the super gigantic anaconda or boa constrictor. And then here we have one of the animals that was taking a nap, not being photographic today. And then here's another one of the Mayan huts, and you can get a look at the thatched roof and the wooden sides, and then you go on the inside, and it's very, very spacious. And then we had some more displays, and this showed different ways of cooking it. And then they had a display showing various modern ways of having it so that you could pour it, and then they had what the Mayans generally drank out of. So they had this one sometimes made out of stone, sometimes made out of wood. And then we continued walking. We got to a location where they had the crocodiles. It's a pretty large one sitting out getting a little bit of a sun. There were several others in the little lake. And then we went to the large building, which had the area where they did the demonstration. So the people here every so often, I think every half hour or every hour, they prepare chocolate. And then after they've mixed it, you can then come in, and they had wooden cups that they would fill up for you. And then they had various things you could add to give it flavor. They also had sugar there, and everybody knew that was not something that they actually used, but they had all the different variations of it. So I put a little cardamom in it, and then after tasting that went right to the sugar. But it was really good, and drinking it out of the wooden cup was really nice. And I ended up buying 2 of them. And then, of course, we have to stop at the modern restroom for starting our walk back. So again, you can see the various trees. Here's another one of the huts. Now this one, you went through it to the backside where they were doing a Mayan ceremony. So you have this gentleman, and they had some Mayan priests in there, and they did a ceremony. They announced it by blowing conch shells, and it was really, really nice. But I didn't want to take video of it. I consider that even if it's just for the tourists, it still probably had meaning to them. So I just took still pictures. So here's one picture, and then here's another one where they did some dancing and played some of the typical instruments. And then we start continuing back, and we come upon several animal enclosures. And this is a looking back towards where the ceremony had taken place. And the one that I saw, it had jaguars in it, and I was just so happy to see a jaguar. Not a black one, they had the ocelot colored. So here was one, and I think was 2 years old. So he's just kind of quiet, just sitting there. But next to him on the other side was the big boy. And as you can see here, he was initially sitting down, relaxing. And the minute the people came up, he came over and put on a show. And it was one of those things, I wish I'd had my video set, but it did not. So I got some good pictures, including this one where he's practically inviting me to wrestle. And beautiful, just beautiful animal. And of course, they are the most powerful creature in the Pitane jungle in Mesoamerica, and very, very special. I mean, some of the elite warriors are called the jaguar warriors, and the others are eagle warriors. And then we continue down a little further, and we come to the spider monkey cage, and they too, of course, seeing the people, start doing their thing, climbing around, coming down, sticking their hands out, because you can feed them. So that was nice. We were really fun for the kids. But again, I'm a cat man, so the jaguars were awesome. And then we come into the last building just before you get to the exit, and it shows the map of Central and South America where cocoa comes from, and the various stages. And here's the pods. Now, 2 years ago when we were in the Caribbean and went to Costa Rica, we went out to a preserve there, and the guide had one of these and opened it up and then gave us the seeds to chew on. And then this shows the development of the cocoa bean. And then in here they have a little altar. Well, the statue of the goddess of the cocoa bean, and then they have a little throne that you can sit on. And that was also made by the lady we saw at our first stop going to Uxmal. And then here we are going back to exit. But we went in and I bought 2 wooden drinking cups, and they're really excellent. You put hot chocolate in and it really stays warm for a long period of time. So we'll be going on to our final stop next time, which will be to Kabah.
Sheri and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please come by our YouTube channel at Bob Packett, and please subscribe and leave some comments. Thank you very much. I've been doing podcasting on history for over 15 years. I've got over 4,000 shows, and I've done CDs, which of course can be sent out as USBs. So if you would really like to get more on history for free, then come by my website, as you see here, historyaccordingtobob.com, and see what's there. So thank you very much again.